honor to be able to welcome you to the Inter-University Council's Military Connected Student Symposium. We have civic leaders, patriots, veterans, all of you coming together to see what we can do to better support our military-connected students.
Say that military-connected students are often camouflaged on our campus, and that's not a pun, it's a truth. And we think faculty and staff can benefit from knowing who they are and how many they are, but we think it's even more important for the students themselves to realize they're not alone. And on many of our campuses, they're a sizable population, and they can find community and help each other as they go.
Why should universities be really interested in this issue other than for a general societal benefit? Well, let me give you 4 reasons why they should be, and I'll start from the very beginning. 62% of our veterans group are first-generation students. How many of you have been at universities who claim that their claim to fame is they have first-generation students? If that's the goal, this is an incredible population to work with. 48% of the undergraduates, veterans who are undergraduates, are over the age of 30. The typical proportion is 20% of those undergraduates who are not veterans are under the age of. It's a different population with different kinds of issues, different kinds of expectations, different histories. And if universities can't adjust to that, then there's something fundamentally wrong with the institutions themselves. 47% of veterans engaged in universities have children. 22% of the typical undergraduate students have children. And that means a whole different infrastructure that's needed if we're going to be successful in allowing those veterans to achieve the goals that they wish, and that universities have as a part of their core mission. And the last one I'll give you is that 40% of our veterans report as Black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, or other minority groups. Every university I'm aware of today claims it's doing its best to get minorities into their institutions.
Why do I think veterans are important in the classroom? I think there's a perspective that we bring that is not represented as much amongst the broader class. I remember, coming out, being a 23-year-old, former infantryman in a class full of, 18 and 19-year-olds who came straight out of high school. We have to schedule classes around VA medical appointments. Had to schedule classes around VA appeals successfully, fighting determination on back injuries and the like. So it's just a we talk a lot about diversity of viewpoint. I think is equally important, if not more important.
Right. First, for senior leaders, I think it's the importance of showing up and getting to know the veteran students, the military-connected students, and listening and learning about their stories. And I will say this last week, I had an opportunity to just do a focus group with our students, and of our veteran military center brought me to tears to hear about the importance of that space. And it happens, I'll just give you one example. That space is a secure space for our students. They swipe in to be able to go into that space. And I had one student actually say, who has very severe PTSD, that's the one space that she can go that she feels safe because it's secure and she has to swipe in. And so
when it comes to programs that were available when I transitioned to campus, I can think of 3 that were extremely valuable to me. One was having access to the Office of Military and Veteran Services, knowing that their doors were open for me to ask questions. The second one for me was the Student Veterans of America organization, where I was able to serve as president of our campus group for a couple years. And third, I would say, would be the military community advocate program that I was involved with. It gave me leadership opportunities and made me feel empowered to take on those challenges that our student veterans were facing in unique ways.
We're talking about transition to college and the time in college, and the next group will be talking about in the workplace. I really ask you to not look at those as 2 distinct issues. We need to look at this as a continuum. For our veterans to be successful, they need to come back, they need to transition into college, and they need to transition successfully to the workplace. And by having both of those entities work together, it's much more likely that they will succeed in that. So take that lens as you're hearing the next panel and everything you heard from this panel as well, and think about that as we focus our efforts in Ohio. But with that, I'd like to...
How do military-connected students best prepare to enter and succeed in the workforce? What sets them sort of apart? What experiences set them apart? And what should they do while they're in college to prepare them to enter the workforce?
You know, asking for help, whether it's through your school, through a mentor that you may have, or a professor, or an employer, or even just your network of colleagues. That can be very powerful. So sometimes just even saying, you know, I don't know how to begin this. I think I'm interested in this, but I'm not sure. Who can I talk to? So just even voicing that, and sometimes being vulnerable can be a big risk, but it's really important too for our students to be able to think about, let me ask those questions. And that's where I think it's really important that we have offices, you know, like our military veteran services, because I know many of our students will go to Kevin and ask him these questions, you know, or the peer advisors across our university. So I think just having that, and I say it takes courage to ask for help, but I think that's also a piece that I would encourage any of our students and our military connected students to say, I have a question, I need help.
Programs like the Major Lawrence Miller Advocate Program was key in landing the job where I am today. So I do suicide prevention at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and I started by interning at the Ohio State University Suicide Prevention Program. And it was the connections that I built there that I think got me the letters of recommendation that I needed, the experience that I needed. From there.
I do want to point out military unemployment is lower than civilian unemployment. And when we talk about the challenges, which are very real, I think it is important for our military service members as they go back into the workforce to remember they are a valuable commodity. And as they have that intense pride in their past service, they should also have, you know, kind of some sense of their value, because I think that that helps them go into that competitive environment with a whole heart.
Country. And then the Collegiate Purple Star that has been mentioned. The first in the United States. No other state had one, the Collegiate Purple Star. We have 92% of our public 2-year and 4-year institutions members of the Collegiate Purple Star. So if you do the math, that means we have 3 left. And hopefully by next spring, where there'll be another class, we'll be at 100%. But we certainly appreciate the commitment for our college universities to be relevant, that higher education attainment, is the #1 factor determining whether a state will be strong. And what smarter strategy could there be than people who've already proved themselves with commitment and dedication and talent than our veterans and our military-connected students?